Hello guys, I think we're on. Let's flick over to the portfolio. So, been a long while. I've sort of kind of forgot to do a stream in quite a while. Been about 6 months, I think. Not sure sort of how many people I will have got the message out to. In case you guys are interested in, it was only sort of eight hours or so ago. So yeah, I'll give it a few minutes, just sort of see who's about and who wants to chat. Hell of a time to be involved in crypto at the moment. I'm sure any of you guys who are in will be aware of. It's even been going up since the video. I think we're about 3,000 or so up on my portfolio since just this morning. As I say, sort of not getting too excited by this, sort of expecting a fair bit of a pullback. You know, we could sort of get the BlackRock ETF, a bit of hopes dashed on that coming soon, but I'm sure there'll be something to sort of knock off this enthusiasm before long, unless they do just approve them all and then we sort of rocket to $40,000 Bitcoin or something, but we'll have to see. So just sort of having a look at a few other bits and pieces. If you guys, sort of mentioned in a couple of community posts, worth having a look at Webull's offer, sort of posted on the channel, on the sort of community tab section. If you see that, they're doing a little offer similar to Trading 212. You get sort of some free shares, fractional shares of generally big tech companies, Apple and Tesla, Google, that sort of thing. But it's a bit better deal than Trading 212. Basically, most of the Trading 212 introductory offers are going to be £10, sort of a fractional amount of £10, or sort of one share that is about £10. Where Webull are sort of offering a minimum $60, which is sort of nearly £50. I'm not going to try and pretend, like I'm sure a lot of people are, that you can get up to $40,000. That's let's be honest, just not going to happen. You may get a little bit more than $60, but yeah, most likely it's going to be $60, so about £50. And yeah, I think times are hard. I'm sure a lot of people could do with £50. So you just sort of log in and deposit, and I think make one trade, and you get your free shares. I don't think there's much of a sort of lock-up period. You can sort of be harsh on them and just withdraw it quite shortly if you're not interested in using them as a broker. But yeah, so if you use my link there, you can sort of try that out, and we both get some free shares. Or you can actually, I did sort of post the Trading 212 offer is open again if you want to use them. Obviously, people will be more likely to actually stick with them, but you do just sort of get the basic one share, most likely £10. Although somebody did sign up a couple of weeks ago and did get about £60 worth. So yeah, not too bad. Who's about? Good evening, Dylan. Hello. First time catching you live. Ah, yes, I was going to say, I've not really heard the name. Yeah, not too bad. How are you doing? Let me know what sort of investor you are. Are you new? Are you sort of crypto, stocks? What are you into? Hello, Jatty. Evening, fella. I think you might get that free pint. Would this be Sir Lallington? Yes, the Solana Cardano battle. They are 7th and 8th at the moment. But I mean, even on the last 7 days, Cardano's been doing reasonably well. 14.8%, 13.7%. But yeah, certainly for the year, it's been mostly Solana. We'll have to see. Cardano just needs to sort of get something done. You know, it's just constant in development and you know, perfect it and things will be great for the future. But it's been years. You know, they just need to get something done, I think. But maybe faith in Charles. Hey, Dylan. Just been getting started recently after getting access to your junior ISA. Oh, really? So you are very young. So your parents done you a junior ISA until you're 18, and now it's yours. Sticking to S&P 500 and some Bitcoin. You mined several years back, like 13, 14 years old. That's incredibly good. How much did you get in the end? I mean, that sort of must have been a reasonable amount with sort of hash rate and difficulty very much lower. Oh, you're in the Discord. Yeah, that's good. Very helpful Discord. I'm not sure we actually have 2,000 members that it says at the top, but yeah, it's certainly helpful. A lot of people have sort of learned a lot from that, me included. Run, good evening, bro. Nice portfolio you have. Thank you very much. How are you doing? What does your portfolio look like? Keeping an eye on my sort of watch lists at the moment. Sort of still watching KGHM. Sort of half-minded to maybe withdraw some funds or other, possibly emerging markets ETF, and sort of either put into some more options if we get a bit more of a drop, or sort of if we get a bit of more murmurs of a recession and copper comes down a bit more, then yeah, wondering whether we'll get a bit more of a drop on KGHM. It does seem to respond a lot more to copper than it does silver. Obviously, I'm sort of quite a large part interested in this for the silver as well. They're actually the second largest silver miner in the world. Don't really think they get all that much credit for it. But yeah, sort of bumbling around the 100s, 110s. But yeah, interested in that. And I've been buying more Hymax all the way down, really. Buying the January 2026 options. So, sort of mentioned before, I'm thinking whether it's mild or a harsh recession coming maybe next year. I think either way you'll get a fair amount of money printing, and that should sort of rocket stocks, gold and Bitcoin up, I'm thinking, and sort of unfortunately leave behind anyone who's in just cash or bonds or anything like that, or sort of stocks that don't really respond to the money printing. But yeah, hopefully the sort of end of 2025 should look rather nice. So I'm making some admittedly risky bets based on that. Jesse, looking forward to Palantir earnings this week. Plus, we'll see if they get the NHS contract. I didn't realise Palantir were sort of interested in the UK. Interesting. Not really one I've sort of looked at all that much. Palantir. I'm not really one, as you probably have gathered, for unprofitable tech. I don't really, or didn't they recently just turn into profit? Yeah, so net income has turned very, very slightly profitable. Considering the market cap, it's not all that much, but I guess they're growing heavily. Sort of 2 billion, 1.5 billion, 745, and what have we got? So growth slowing down. 2.21, 2.63 billion in revenue, and yeah, 32 billion market cap. So, 12 times, 13 times next year's revenue. It's just not really for me. And sort of, what is that? For 60 times earnings? I suppose it's not horrendous compared to sort of 13 times revenue, but yeah, not really my cup of tea. But then I don't know a lot about the sector. Dylan, you mind on your gaming PC while you slept, as one of your family friends recommended it? Wasn't paying the electricity bill either. That's the way. Hope the parents didn't mind all that much. Run. You think SMT is a buy at these levels or not going anywhere soon? So we do have rather a lot of talk about SMT on the Discord. Not Semtech Corporation, Scottish Mortgage, and yeah, it's been sort of up and down in the 600 to 700 range really for quite a long while. Yeah, 6 months, sort of best part of the year now. I've sort of always been put off, and I do sort of keep saying it on the Discord. I know it's not a massive part anymore, but the Moderna holding, sort of, I don't think it's their biggest holding anymore. That's ASML, but yeah, Moderna's just sort of not really one for me, and it was their largest holding by quite a way. And I just really do not understand what they see in it. I see it's dropping even more. Yeah, it's just continually dropping and dropping and dropping. It seems like, yeah, they obviously got a huge amount of money for the COVID vaccines, that sort of thing. But yeah, slipped into a net loss and forecasting a net loss for this year, certainly, and forecasting a huge net loss for all of next year. So are we saying it's a 2025 profitable stock? That's sort of not really something I want to be holding at, high interest rates, sort of hugely unprofitable next year. Presuming they've got sort of a fair bit of cash. Yeah, 8 billion in cash, sort of not a lot of debt, but even so, I just would rather have something profitable. So yeah, this was at sort of 10% of Scottish Mortgage, and from what I understand, they haven't sold, they've just let it sort of run all the way down, and it's now, 6% of the portfolio or something. But I just didn't like that being at the top. I don't really have much of an issue with all of the rest of their holdings, and it would be something that I may look into later on when I'm sort of out of crypto and want a little bit more risk. But yeah, until then, I just sort of can't really bring myself to buy it. Hello, Edward. Any UK stocks you're bullish on, or any heavy top-ups? Not all that much in the UK. I do sort of have a few on the watch list, sort of at all times. I guess my sort of UK stuff that I'm invested in is really just a few of the miners, which really aren't UK, Rio Tinto, Glencore and people like that. They're not mining in the UK, it's just where they're listed. I'm not really sure that's a bet on the UK economy at all. Tritax Big Box, I suppose, is. I'm not buying it, certainly, at the moment. A little bit nervy about sort of interest rates and the return on those. Having had one sort of long time watchers will know I was into properties, only about 280 pounds, but I did lose all of that because they went bust. And sort of similar to a lot of these other REITs, the shareholder equity, sort of the portfolio value minus all the debt and everything, was far, far more than the market cap, and he still basically ended up with nothing. So I don't take that as too much sort of safety that, you know, the property value is worth a lot more than the market cap even after debt. So yeah, I just think REITs are maybe one for sort of lower interest rate times, and sort of certainly ones with a bit less debt. So yeah, not a huge amount of UK, to be honest. Palantir will get included in the S&P 500 if they have positive earnings. Yeah, that's sort of a catalyst, I guess. The sort of Tesla inclusion was sort of fairly positive. You get all the ETFs having to buy. But yeah, that's obviously a short-term catalyst. It's not really something to hang your hat on for the long term. Compounding investor, hello, hello, hello. Are you not in the Discord, Compounding Investor? We'd love to have you in there. You've got sort of a few admirers who certainly post your videos from time to time. Chance for Bitcoin ETF soon. There's been a few rumours on the news. BlackRock being mentioned. There is quite a few. The SEC have said that they've got 8 to 10 that they're considering. There's Fidelity one, ARK Invest. Everyone likes ARK Invest. And a few others, sort of Valkyrie, Bitwise, Invesco, and people like that. And the grayscale conversion, that's sort of a slightly different way of going about it, but another one that's sort of in consideration. Basically, everyone's thinking January the 10th is sort of final date for ARK Invest, and if they were to reject ARK Invest but approve BlackRock, then there would probably be some heavy legal action for that. So basically, everyone's thinking a load of them will be getting approved before January the 10th. So kind of interesting, whether it's sort of next month or December maybe. You know, they've sort of rejected them all back to I think middle of next month. But yeah, whether we get a load improved then, or they just really do throw the hammer down and reject the whole lot, we'll have to see. But I can't see them rejecting the whole lot. Let's see, what do you think the capital gains tax limit will be in 2025? Will we have one at all? Is probably more the question, isn't it? 12, what is it? 12.3 down to 6, down to 3,000, and then yeah, maybe they'll just stick at 3,000, I guess. It's not a lot. I'm guessing they don't like sort of people investing or trying to push you into an ISA at least. They don't want you sort of having too much in the way of gains. I can't imagine they'll go much lower than 3,000, sort of coming from 12,300 just last year. But yeah, probably stick at 3,000 for a good while. Now, Dan, any thoughts on REITs at the current levels? Surely some quality in Tritax, retail parks, etc. Lots of bad news priced in. Yeah, I think, you know, there probably is a fair amount of bad news priced in. I don't think, certainly on the residential side, for example, we haven't actually seen that much reduction in house prices. So, yeah, not sure whether we have seen all that much in the commercial side. I don't really sort of look at commercial property prices. Certainly, they've sort of the REITs have been doing write downs, so I'm guessing they've had to sort of write down their portfolio a reasonable amount. But whether it's all priced into the stock, I'm not too sure. I think the stocks are sort of responding to interest rates partly because a lot of the REITs sort of have a 5%, you know, 4-5% yield, and you can get that in bonds at the moment. So you're really just hoping for appreciation in the stock to sort of outperform the bonds. And yeah, people aren't sort of look at options profit calculator. I know Bing is awful. I don't use Bing. It's just for sort of privacy. So I'm doing long-term options basically on stocks that I think are going to do well over the next couple of years. So I'm not into sort of short-term anything really, and I'm not into shorting puts or anything like that. So I'm basically just doing long calls only, and an example sort of Hymax is one that I'm sort of very bullish on. So you can come to options profit calculator, for example, and just sort of have a look at all the things that I'm doing. So it's a $5.28 stock. I do tend to prefer sort of lower price stocks because the options are always based on 100 shares, and 100 shares of, Apple, for example, is sort of $17,000 or $16,000, whatever that is, whereas, this is $500, so it just makes it a little bit more liquid and a little bit more buyable. You can buy sort of lots and lots of contracts, and if they go up, then it's a lot easier just to take a bit of profit and sort of sell one or two. So yeah, looking at buying an option, you can sort of select the option, and it looks different sort of in the brokerage app like Interactive Brokers or Webull. If you wanted to give Webull a go, they do options. And yeah, this all sort of gives you the dates, and this is sort of basically when you're betting the price is going to go up to buy this date. So I'm buying mostly the January 2026 or sort of end of 2025 on some of the other stocks. So it gives me just over 2 years. And yeah, for Hymax, for example, I'm sort of saying that the price is going to be above $10 by January 2026. So 100 shares basically. If it goes to $15, then I get 100 shares of the difference, which would be $500. And sort of at the moment, I have been sort of buying them for between 25 and 30 cents a share. So times that by 100, and yeah, it's for 25, say, to make the maths easy, that's $25 a contract. For if it say went to $15, then that's a $500 gain. So it would be about 20 times my money. Obviously that, sounds very nice, but you are hoping a stock essentially now triples in 2 years. So it is a bit of a long shot bet, but I sort of kind of think it can happen. The stock's been at $15 in the last couple of years, even if it was a sort of temporary spike, but I like to think it can get there. And it's not something that you want to be sort of piling loads and loads of money into. You have to accept that if the stock, certainly doesn't get to $10, if it doesn't get to 15 but it goes above 10, you'll make some. But if it doesn't get to 10, then you lose everything, unless you sort of sell it for a loss. If it gets to $8, you might be able to sell it at a loss and sort of claw some of that money back. But I'm generally just probably going to hold these right the way to the end to sort of give myself enough time. So you have to be prepared for it to expire worthless and lose all of the money you put in. So yeah, basically that's what I'm doing. There is a lot of risk, but if you're sort of willing to take on that risk, then it could be worth it. So Jatty CLSK to the moon. Should Bitcoin get an ETF? Well, that is the hope. I didn't actually sort of man up and buy any more CleanSpark options. I still just have got the 11. I think part of this sort of issue with the options is that obviously a lot of people think CleanSpark is going to go up, whereas with something like Hymax, there isn't a lot of bullishness in the stock. So the CleanSpark options, despite CleanSpark actually being a lower price than Hymax, they are awfully expensive. So they might end up actually doing better because the stock could, I'm sort of seeing the stock could potentially 10x if we get a really sort of bullish crypto run, but the options actually wouldn't make that much. Well, they wouldn't make more than high max. You know, if high max 3x's and CleanSpark 10x's, I would actually make more money on the high max options because people just don't think high max is going to go up, basically. But yeah, we'll have to see. Compounding investor, best guess on a possible ISA allowance increase in the autumn statement. I don't think we're going to get one at all. Whether they do this £5,000 UK specific one, I don't know. We can't really second guess Mr. Hunt at the moment, but yeah, if we do get that, I'll certainly be using it up and adding sort of whatever I end up adding. Maybe I'll just transfer some of my sort of Rio Tinto or something in there and have that in there. But yeah, I can't imagine them just increasing the base 20,000 allowance. They seem to sort of be very anti-stocks at the moment, even if they are sort of talking about this UK specific thing. Doing their fractional shares attack at the moment isn't sort of very ISA friendly. Hopefully they do sort of address that in the autumn statement and put that to bed. Yes, Jess, yeah. What do you think about the nonsense about paying tax on fractional shares? It does seem nonsense. It was a law sort of put into place long before fractional shares even existed, so there was never a discussion of it has to be whole shares because there were only whole shares. You would think that they would just see sense and update the wording to include fractional shares because that is what they are. They aren't a derivative. It's been confirmed there are sort of derivatives on certain platforms such as eToro, and yeah, Trading 212 and Free Trade, for example, have confirmed that they aren't fractional shares. And if you listen to the podcast, the Playing Footsie podcast, Steve D did sort of confirm, looking into the way that people own shares on the platforms. Essentially, you are owning fractional shares of everything, even if you own whole shares, because it's all in one pool, and you just have a fraction of that pool. So, yeah, it does seem a bit of a double standard, but I'm sort of very cynical and think that maybe the Hargreaves Lansdowns and AJ Bells and people like that have been having a quiet word with HMRC because their business is kind of getting eaten into. But who knows? Yeah, 1988 was the clause. That's a little ridiculous. Would be a bit annoying for dividend reinvestment without fractional shares. Exactly. You've got your sort of US dividend staples, your McDonald's and sort of Pepsi and people like that people like to invest into. It's not, whatever I think about it, it's not really one for me, but a lot of people like it, and it's $255 a share. So if they're saying 0 fractionals allowed, then yeah, you've got to be buying $255 every time you want to buy or sell it, which is a lot for a lot of people. It would be a lot for me. I might have £150 in my portfolio sitting there, and if I thought I'd like to invest that in McDonald's, then you can't. Some people are sort of cynically saying that this would push, the HMRC rule is to push people more towards UK shares, because the vast majority of UK shares are sort of not $255, they're more like £2.55, so it'd be much easier to buy whole shares. But yeah, I think that's a bit tinfoil hat maybe, and sort of putting a little bit too much sort of emphasis on the intelligence at HMRC, which I don't think they have, to be honest. Just a quick reminder, not willing to shill, or not wishing to shill, but the Webull investment does only run, or the sort of Halloween special that they've got on at the moment for 20 free shares, does run out on Tuesday, so you can sort of sign up sort of tonight or tomorrow if you want, and sort of make a deposit, and you get sort of 20 free shares. I do think it's certainly worth doing. It seems like you can just sort of trade a little bit, maybe leave it there for a few days or a week or so, and then withdraw it if you're not very keen on them, or you just sort of want to be harsh from the beginning and move that money over to trading 212. But yeah, certainly if you want to do that, get over to my link on the community section and sign up for that, and we both get a nice little bonus. Precisely, Dylan. Yes, exactly. Might as well open up an account. Nothing to lose. Yeah, I think, you know, get on that. You could most likely get $50 if you're sort of 18 and you're still not sure. I mean, have you got a job at the moment? Are you sort of studying or in uni? Yeah, maybe that sort of £50 or so would be a nice little addition to add to some stocks. Maybe do the trading 212 one as well. Not sure where your ISA is, or if you've, I'm not quite sure how the junior ISA works. Does that get converted into a standard stocks and shares ISA? Presume that's with sort of Hargreaves Lansdown or someone. Not the best broker, or sort of from my experience in the past. Yeah, as I say, maybe sort of someone like Trading 212 would be the one to sort of use and actually stick with, and the Webull would be just maybe for a little bit of bonus money between you and me, and yeah, withdraw that money and put it over to Trading 212. But unless you really like Webull, obviously you can stick with them. Uran, how often do you do your live streams? Not very often at all. They do sort of normally go reasonably well. It's normally sort of as similar to tonight. Quite a few people show up and we sort of have a chat. But yeah, it's not something that I sort of schedule all that often. Maybe sort of if I haven't done one in a while, sort of ping me a comment on one of my videos and just sort of remind me, and maybe we can do one. But I wasn't sure there's that much demand, to sort of do them weekly or anything. So I tend to just sort of give it a couple of months and do another one. But yeah, it has been sort of about 6 months now, I think. Dylan, so your parents had a junior ISA with Hargreaves Lansdown. Bane of my life back then. Also one with Vanguard, which transferred into Trading 212. Oh, that's quite good. Turns into a normal stocks and shares ISA. Oh, okay. Yeah. So you have already got a Trading 212 account. You can't do that. But still my favourite broker. Sort of, I see they've introduced after hours and pre-market trading now. It's possibly something to, it makes the buzz, but I would say maybe stay away from that. The liquidity sort of I don't think is all that good. You can end up because you don't get a fixed quoted price for stocks, you can end up sort of hitting buy and it goes through at a much higher price, and then it'll sort of spike back down again and you're sort of left at a loss. So yeah, I'd be a little bit wary of after hours or out of hours trading. It's probably a little bit of advice. Maybe see sort of how other people fare with it, and I'm sure you'll get some horror stories on the community. Yeah, seems to be quite limited selection with junior ISAs. Trading 212 or free trade don't offer them. Yeah, free trade do the SIP, don't they? Surprised Trading 212 haven't got in on SIPs. Whether there's sort of a reluctance to get into that. Interactive Brokers, I think, do. I don't think they do a junior ISA, but they do SIPs and stocks and shares ISAs. Still waiting. I logged in last couple of weeks ago and saw whether I could switch my IG ISA over to Interactive Brokers, and yeah, they still said cash only, so no proper switches available, and I would have to, you can see the sort of reluctance for me to do that. It would mean selling all of my Pan American Silver in here, all of my Clean Spark, all of my Atalaya mining, and be out of the market for sort of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however long it takes. It is much easier, I think, when it's only cash, but it could take sort of 3 weeks. And yeah, with what Bitcoin's done in the last couple of weeks, CleanSpark may not have risen quite as much as Bitcoin has, but it's risen a bit. And say next week we get an ETF approved or something, and I'm liquidated into cash and sort of transferring over, that would not be pretty. So I would only do it really if the in-specie transfers were available and I can move the stocks over intact. So until then, no. I still don't actually know whether you are allowed options within the ISA, because essentially they aren't a derivative, because you can convert them into, or you can exercise your contract and actually buy 100 shares of the real stock. So in some ways they're not a derivative, as sort of futures or CFD trading are, but I wouldn't imagine you're allowed them inside the ISA. Obviously, if you are, that would be something sort of very enticing, considering sort of the hopes I have for this little group of options, and sort of what is hopefully getting added to shortly. If there's a potential to sort of 10x on these, potentially, maybe even 15, 20x. If I could do that all tax-free within an ISA, then that'd be very, very nice. I don't suppose any of you guys know sort of whether that is available in an ISA in Interactive Brokers. Don't know many people who do actually have an account with them. I do share my referral link for Interactive Brokers, but it's not really a sort of small investor friendly link. I think you have to maintain $10,000 in there for a year. So yeah, it's not really sort of friendly for newer people. But yeah, any bigger investors can certainly check out my referral link. I think it's in the YouTube channel in the description of most videos. Or I do have a link tree actually. Seems to be, yes, still using HL for the lifetime ISA, Dylan. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, you have to have that with either them or AJ Bell, or sort of, there's only really a couple of others, isn't there? If you have it in sort of just like an all-world fund, then I don't think the fees are sort of too bad. But yeah, it would be handy if you could just bring that all in with one broker. Certainly have it, yeah, at your age. I'm guessing that is saving up to get your first house, and you really can't beat getting sort of 25% bonus on whatever you invest in. Not in cash, of course, lifetime stocks and shares ISA. Although, people say if you're saving up for a house, it really should be in cash, but I'm not sure whether I agree entirely with that. A lot of effort to switch brokers, takes up to 30 days as far as I'm aware. If it's in cash, I believe it can take up to 30 days. If it's in stocks, then you can actually wait a lot longer than that. I switched from iWeb, which I believe is part of Halifax, to IG Trading, and that took 3.5 months for what was actually one stock, to sort of, because there was only really one stock on both platforms that I wanted to hold. To do an in-specie transfer, I had to sell what I had and put it all into that one stock and trade that over. So transferring one stock took 3.5 months. So yeah, not good at all. And that was the response I got from Interactive Brokers. No, we don't have in-specie transfers available for IG trading. They do actually have them for free trade. So yeah, there's that. And they just said, can we suggest you liquidate your holdings and transfer over as cash? Which, no, basically. I have been, I mean, sounds ridiculous, but I have been sort of considering trying an in-specie transfer if I can from IG to free trade and then from free trade to Interactive Brokers. But I'm sure that is sort of out of the frying pan into the fire, basically, and just asking for trouble. I'm not even 100% sure if you can do IG to free trade, but yeah, probably not something that I'll end up doing. I'll just carry on waiting. Looking to experiment with options a little bit, mainly just get familiar with the way they work. Yeah, there's some good sort of videos out there. I think what was the name? In the Money YouTube channel is quite good. You can sort of, I think he's got a few playlists of sort of beginner videos and that sort of thing. Maybe don't watch the more recent videos because it can get sort of quite advanced. But if you sort of watch his more beginner stuff, he's quite good. But yeah, sort of a lot of the time it's focusing on sort of selling covered calls and sort of trying to make an income, which is not really my cup of tea. I'm sort of using them as speculative long-term bets, really. But yeah, certainly give someone like that a look. I think he sort of stopped making videos recently because he's got a bit of health issues, or sort of a fair amount of health issues, unfortunately. But yeah, certainly the videos are all there, and I'm sure it'd help him out watching some of the videos. Running one of the HSBC all-world trackers, Dylan. Lowest up, yeah, 0.12% is very good for an all-world tracker. You can't even get that from Vanguard, can you? Unless you get just the developed world one. Plus the platform fee, yeah, it's the platform fee that sort of kills it, really. The sort of 0.45%. You're going to do a mix of VEEV and VFEM. However, as HL doesn't allow fractional shares, you avoided this. Yeah, I think, you know, if that HSBC one is a fund, then it's probably best just to stick with that. Very interesting stuff, O'Run. Should stop by more often. Yeah, certainly, you know, as I say, I don't really do a huge amount of live streams, but check out the videos if you're interested, and sort of maybe nudge me to do another live stream if I haven't done one in a while. Always good to sort of see how people are. I would normally sort of give people at least a few days notice and sort of see if a few more people are about, but always nice to chat. I'll give it another 5 minutes, see if anybody else is about. Few sort of others. Yeah, let's have a quick look where we are with CleanSpark options at the moment. So a $5 stock, say, at a $10 strike price for Himax was $25 to $30. CleanSpark is a cheaper stock, and for the same date, well, it's not a $10 strike, it's a $7.50 strike, so they'd be a little bit more expensive, but you'd expect sort of, you know, 40, 45, 50, maybe $60, but no, they would be $223 or sort of 235 as a buy it now, if you like. So yeah, that is basically just because more people expect clean spark to go up. So they're not going to sell off options quite so cheaply. So it does help sort of buying an option in a stock that most people don't think is going to go up, but you do, basically. If you have sort of real conviction that it is going to. Obviously, if it doesn't, then you do lose everything with this type of bet. The other ones I'm sort of in are Coeur Mining, for example. Very, very cheap stock, $2.41. So the options are rather cheap. 16th of January, so I'm looking at sort of being above $5 by 16th of January or the 19th of December. And yeah, you're looking at sort of, well, yeah, they aren't $35. They're sort of $65 at the moment. Have been sort of 50. I was buying sort of quite a bit at 50. Around the January, December 2025, basically the same price. Sort of was buying quite a lot at $50. So yeah, that hopefully if that can sort of go to, if that went to $10, say, by in the next 2 years, then at $50 price, that would be a 10x, which is quite nice for what would only be a 4x in the stock price. Obviously, if it goes to more than that, if we get a nice gold and silver rocket up, then yeah, could make sort of 15 to 20x on the options, but we'll see. And Equinox is basically the other main one that I'm looking at. $4.54 stock again. I could do quite like the $5 and under, and that is again sort of betting on above $10 in the next couple of years. So a 2 and a bit x on the price. And yeah, these are sort of very, very expensive now. They were sort of quite a bit cheaper, and I was sort of buying for $50 a contract, where they're now sort of, I think this is not really what they've been trading at. This is just sort of a, you know, low liquidity situation. They're sort of $250 for the $10 price, but yeah, not been buying them recently. Hopefully that means sort of people are starting to wise up. Let's see, if you could only invest in one ETF, which would I pick? I mean, that is pushing me. I probably would just go broad, to be honest, and I would say, you know, if it had to be one, I wouldn't want to just go developed world, so I would just say the VWRL Vanguard All World. If you're in the Discord, you'll know a lot of us do prefer the, as Dylan, I believe, mentioned above, the VFEM and VEVE combo, sort of Vanguard, Developed World, and Emerging Markets. That's sort of a little bit of a cheaper way to do it. Yes, Dylan mentioned here. So yeah, basically a combo of that, basically, as one ETF. If I had to pick one, but you probably know I'm not one for picking just one ETF. Run, you probably hold EQQQ, Nasdaq. Yeah, if you sort of really, really long term, I guess tech probably would outperform. Certainly, I think it's going to outperform in a bit of a money printing scenario, which I am predicting is coming. So yeah, Nasdaq, I'm sure could be doing well. You certainly wouldn't be getting options on Nvidia. Yes, it's as I say, it doesn't really work with very, very high price stocks. Let's have a look at Nvidia just for a laugh. I don't even know what the stock is in NVDA. Yeah, $405. So let's have a look at end of 2026. And so if you were looking for something sort of out of the money, say, if you were betting it was going to go to $500, say, above $500, then yeah, you're looking at $9,600 per contract, so best part of 10 grand. So it's not really for sort of smaller investors, even if you were to go right the way out of the money and sort of say $930, that's the highest you can do. It's still nearly $2,800 dollars a contract. So yeah, maybe not the one to do. Maybe a couple of years ago. Crazy right now. Also funny how it has 0.04% dividend yield. Yes, it is pretty pointless. I think it's just so that they can say it has one and it's not just completely reliant on growth. But yeah, it is pointless. I'm sure the people who hold it, who get a few pence, do just think, what is the point? Dylan, you've learned so much from the Discord. I haven't got involved in the LGen cult yet. Yes, it is rather a cult. I did hold Legal in General for quite a while, but I did sell out. Not really one for me at the moment. So we'll see more bullish opportunities elsewhere. But yeah, they do love it. Obviously, I keep an eye on it because I have to sort of keep things friendly if things did get out of hand as a moderator. Not that it ever really, I mean, we haven't banned anybody for, or even warned anybody for sort of bad behaviour for a long while, sort of even before my time as a moderator, really. And you want to see pies within pies coming soon on 212? Yes, I mean, that obviously does depend on Jeremy Hunt sort of confirming that fractional shares are fine, because pies within pies at all as a feature really does depend on fractional shares. It doesn't really work putting money into a pie if you're not allowed to hold fractionals. So we do just need that confirmation first. Steak and ale is the best, yes. Yeah, we do need a bit of clarity, basically. I'm sure they're not going to be developing new features for pies without absolute confirmation on that. I wasn't sure how much demand there is for pies within pies as well. Yes, coming up to the hour, so I will give it a couple more minutes and bid you guys farewell. Maybe we will do this again soon, as Oran says. Certainly going to be keeping an eye on a few stocks this coming week, and then in the next few weeks I have a little more to add, sort of potentially another 1,000, maybe another £1,500 soon. Probably we'll just keep going into interactive brokers and more options. It's the place that I sort of see most potential return at the moment, even if the CleanSpark, Kua Mining and Equinox options have sort of got a little bit expensive. The only one that I'm sort of seeing as really, really good value at the moment is Himax, and I'm sort of feel a little bit nervous, just keep piling and piling into Himax. There is always, potential that this spike never happens and it just sticks at $5 or so. Obviously, it's been at $15, $16 in 2021, but that was 0% interest times. Basically, anything you could just throw money, throw shit at the wall and you would make money. And it went to sort of $15, $16. Whether we will get that again, who knows? I think the potential EV automotive demand will sort of come through, and maybe a little bit of VR demand and sort of all manner of things they've got their eyes in. They're in sort of Dell laptops with the little webcam tracking software and chips. So I think it's got potential, but yeah, just sort of piling hundreds and hundreds of pounds into options that could expire worthless is obviously a risk. Could always put it into crypto, of course, if, you know, I want to sort of average down maybe on some of mine. But we'll see. I can't see me doing that now that everything's rocketed up. It's obviously still way below my average, and, you know, I'm kind of anchored that I could have been buying, you know, a month or so ago at much cheaper prices. You shouldn't really think like that. I do sort of try and ward people off anchoring in the Discord, but it's very, very difficult to avoid doing it yourself, especially with crypto when things sort of rise so quickly. But yeah, we'll see. Thanks for the stream. No worries, Dylan. Been quite interesting. Try and stop by again whenever I'm live. Yeah, you'll have to, as I say, if I sort of haven't done one in a while, maybe just sort of ping a message in one of the videos and remind me. Always a pleasure, Jesse. EV turnaround didn't help matters. If fractional shares do get banned, there's always LGen to dump small amounts into. Yeah, exactly. Nice one. Yeah, nice one, compounding investor. I would say, do get in the Discord if you're interested. You'll certainly have a few people jumping for joy. So yeah, I will bid you guys farewell and speak to you soon, or see you on Saturday. And just a final reminder: if you want to sign up for Webull, get on it in sort of the next day or two, and you can get on that offer. Most likely get 50 quid. Certainly worth doing. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.